Hey, this is Mike, 𝚅𝚒𝚗𝚘. This is another video for Metal Part 3 for May, everything I bought in the month of May 2024. One of the first albums that I got was 𝚅𝚒𝚗𝚘𝚘, Unleashed Memories. This is a really cool album. It has male-female vocals. It's gothic metal. I think if you like bands, you know, if you like some of the symphonic metal stuff and maybe even 𝚅𝚒𝚘𝚘𝚘, you know, they kind of have a little bit of a feel here. So really cool stuff here in that gothic metal vein, and you know, great songwriting, really good choruses, very melodic. You know, this is definitely on the more lighter side of metal. So, you know, but it's still, I think, really, really good stuff. This is, I believe, their second album, and their third album, 𝚅𝚒𝚘𝚘𝚘. So the first three albums are probably the best albums for 𝚅𝚒𝚘𝚘𝚘. The first one, Unleashed, and 𝚅𝚒𝚘𝚘𝚘. So I would recommend this album if you're into that gothic symphonic stuff. It's pretty good. It has the male-female vocals, so they go back and forth, which is kind of unique.
Resterò a guardare senza riuscire a resisterti.
Next album is another gothic metal band, but this is a little bit older. This album came out in 1995, and I remember reading an article or a review and maybe an interview with these guys in Metal Maniacs back in the day, probably back in 95 when this album was coming out. And they gave it kind of a really good review, or they at least made it sound really interesting from what I remember, and I ended up picking it up, and I really enjoyed it. It's another gothic kind of metal band, and it's Moonspell. This is Wolfheart, and these guys went really gothic after this, but they were still more metal. There's tinges of black metal in here and the riffing, but there's a lot of gothic elements. Again, 𝚅𝚒𝚘𝚘𝚘-ish stuff in here. Some of the symphonic metal elements are in here too. So lots of keyboards, lots of clean singing, but in the style of 𝚅𝚒𝚘𝚘𝚘 with the deep voice and stuff like that, and a lot of songs that are heavy all the way through. So kind of a mixture of genres in here a little bit. So these guys were kind of bouncing around until they kind of settled on their style after this album, which was pure gothic metal. But this album is kind of a mixture, and it's kind of cool. You go on the Metal Archives, the reviews are really glowing for this. People really like this album, and I like it as well. It's been on my list for a while. It popped up in my Instagram feed. These tended to go out of print kind of quickly, or sell out pretty quickly when they would go in print. So they kind of always jumped from like regular price to about 50, 60 bucks on Discogs at least. So when I saw that they were readily available on Blastbeat, I jumped on it. The next album is from a band that's really cool, another mid-90s metal band, but this is doom metal, and this is 𝚅𝚒𝚗𝚝𝚘, and this is the Through the Darkest Hour. These guys are getting reissues of their albums on the Back on Black label with new cover art. I think the new cover art is really, really good, and it probably fits the theme of the album a little bit better. And the cover art on these records that are released by Ssvart, they're kind of blow-ups from the CD. It's disappointing that it's like that. I don't know if the new reissues are going to have this or not, but there's a write-up in here, an article that Martin Popoff wrote in the 2 albums that I bought from these guys recently. If you watch my previous pickups from last month or the previous month after that, I can't remember, one of my metal videos in the past couple months, I picked up another 𝚅𝚒𝚘𝚝𝚘 album on the Ssvart, and Martin Popoff wrote, you know, another write-up in that one too. I don't know if those other Back on Black reissues are going to have that or not with the new artwork, but it'd be cool if they did. Another just excellent doom metal album. The riffs on here are crushing. You know, it's just so crushing, and they're just the weight of them are amazing. Yeah, the riffs come at you just like crashing waves, and it's just really heavy and crushing. And the vocals are soaring and melancholy. Really, really, really good stuff. This might be, you know, second to Candlemass, really, as far as that type of doom metal with the clean singing. Really, really, really good stuff. Highly recommended. Pick up the Ssvart records or wait for the new reissues, either way, but definitely pick them up because they are fantastic. Next album I picked up, this is just pure old school 1992 death metal, and that's 𝚅𝚒𝚘𝚝. No frills, no thrills, just pure death metal. Growling, riffs, tons of distortion, and very simple. Nothing going on here that's really crazy or even unique. It's just pure typical death metal from the early 90s, and it's kind of sweet. It's, you know, chef kiss, you know, it's really good stuff. If you just like it simple, this is a band that I think that is pretty easy to define and describe, as you'll hear when I play a song from them after this. But I got this used as well, picked this up for like 20 bucks at the store. Wasn't looking for it. It just was in the bin. And, you know, I'm aware of this album, so I knew about it. I think I had it back in the day on cassette in the early 90s, you know, because we were just buying everything that looked like death metal at that point, you know, when that stuff was coming out. If we had vaguely heard about a band in Metal Maniacs that said, this is death metal, and then we saw the cassette tape at the stores, we were buying them like crazy, me and my friends in high school. So, yeah, excellent, excellent stuff here. 𝚅𝚒𝚘𝚝. Death metal. Simple, typical early 90s death metal. It's not even the HM2 pedal sound. It's just pure distortion. Maybe obituary-esque, you know, slowly we rot kind of stuff. The riffs are probably not as good as that album, but if you like it simple like that and, you know, just clean sounding riffing, you know, old school style, this is really good.
Lord,
All right, next two are from the 80s. They're kind of classics. Well, at least this one is. The other one's classic too. But this is Testament, this is the Legacy, and this is an original press from around 87. And this is on Atlantic, of course. And the reason why I picked this up is because I was interested in getting the new reissues that were coming out from Nuclear Blast. And then when I saw them in the store, the artwork was a blow up and I was so disappointed. And yeah, maybe that shouldn't have bothered me because it's just the art. But for some reason, you know, Nuclear Blast taking a cheap way out and blowing up that old artwork really kind of got to me. It bugged me too much. So I started looking for a copy and I found this one for $65. So I picked this one up, and that's a pretty good price for this original press. So I was pretty happy paying that price for this, and it's a really good sounding copy. It's very clean, has the insert with the lyric sheet, so all that's great. And yeah, this is a good album. This isn't Testament's best album, I don't think, in my opinion, but it's a great start for the band, and it's definitely in that 87 thrash sound. Glad I have an original press now. Artwork's clean. This album is in great shape, so I'm satisfied. And I have a New Order already as an original press.
One needs the riches, the tawny, from the Lord, but us another succumb. The high priest of evil has lowered his high fist, thousands of people will die. Slaughter of the innocent, the house that burns and lights the sky, my night has begun to unfold. Vicious heat of the chorus song, sound and feel a ripping flash, falling down from the sky. My terror has controlled my life, and let my only weakness know I gotta rid this hell from my head. I find out through those social rules, break my mind and hit to underneath the falling angel in his realm. Alone in the dark, where the demons are torturing me. Dark clouds of revenge is all that I see. Fosters prepares the leeches of the night to find us in the bottom of the rhyme. Aimlessly people, the hood, ill, and black, wreaking daily havoc in the kind. I've fallen in my deepest sleep to meet the evil Lasseroth. This title is the granted of hell. I fight until the end is near. In my mind, I'm home to feel my destination lies in my dreams. Set me free.
All right, the last album is a 1988, and this is Bon Jovi, New Jersey. And the reason why I bought this album, number one, it showed up used at the record store. So I was like, okay, cool. And I've seen this album a few times before. I just never picked it up. It's never like the Bon Jovi album that I wanted to own. I really like the first two albums, and I think Slippery When Wet is really, really, really good. That's probably, in my opinion, it's Bon Jovi's best album. In my opinion, I think that is the epitome of his career. I love that album. It's my favorite. And when this came out, I thought it was okay, but over the years, and also after watching the Bon Jovi documentary that's on Hulu, it kind of like really got me interested in this album. It's been kind of in the back of my mind that if I ever see it, I'm going to pick it up now, because I really enjoyed that documentary, and I thought that, you know, Bon Jovi, I kind of have a little bit more respect for him as an artist now than I ever did before, just by watching that and seeing his struggles, you know, with his voice and stuff. And so I kind of had a little bit more respect for Bon Jovi, and I kind of had more respect for this album. And I listened to a few songs again, and I'm like, you know what? Well, during the documentary, they were playing them, so I was hearing them there, and I was like, you know what? It is a good album. I'm not really giving it a fair shake. And yeah, so I just went to the record store, and it was there. So I was like, okay, here it is. I'm going to buy it. So this is an original press from that era, you know, from right around, probably from 88 or close to it. And yeah, it's a really good album, and I enjoyed this album a lot more than I did in the past. So yeah, check out the Bon Jovi documentary. I think it's really good. I definitely enjoyed watching that.
Cause
All right, that's the end of this video. That's all the metal I picked up in May, and thanks for watching.